Long before prices rise, before shelves empty, before inflation becomes a headline, the story of the economy begins deep underground, in places most people will never see and rarely think about. Millions of years ago, ancient plants and microscopic organisms settled on ocean floors and forest beds, slowly buried under layers of earth and stone. Heat and pressure did the rest. Over time, that organic matter transformed into crude oil, locked away beneath rock formations, waiting for a future civilization that would learn how to reach it. That civilization is ours. And reaching that fuel is where the modern economy truly begins. The first step isn't a gas station or a refinery. It's a drilling rig rising out of farmland, desert, tundra, or ocean water, operated by crews working long shifts in harsh conditions. Engineers study seismic maps. Geologists analyze rock layers. Welders, electricians, mechanics, and safety inspectors all play a role before a single drop of oil ever comes to the surface. Every well represents thousands of hours of labor and years of accumulated knowledge, all aimed at tapping a resource that the world quietly depends on. Once crude oil is extracted, the job has only started. Raw crude isn't useful on its own. It's thick, inconsistent, and full of impurities. To turn it into something the economy can actually use, it has to be transported, often hundreds or thousands of kilometers, by pipeline, ship, rail, or truck. Each of those steps employs another layer of workers: pipeline crews, pump station operators, tanker ship crews, rail engineers, dispatchers, port workers, and inspectors. By the time a barrel of oil reaches its next destination, it has already supported an entire web of employment. That destination is usually a refinery, and refineries are not factories in the traditional sense. They are industrial cities. Miles of pipes twist through steel towers, furnaces glow day and night, and control rooms hum with quiet precision. Inside, crude oil is heated, separated, cracked, and refined into dozens of different products. Diesel, jet fuel, gasoline, heating oil, lubricants, asphalt, petrochemical feedstocks, and more all come from the same raw barrel, divided and purified through processes refined over decades. Refineries employ thousands directly and support tens of thousands more indirectly. Chemical engineers, process operators, maintenance crews, lab technicians, safety officers, and logistics planners keep these facilities running continuously. They don't shut down at night. They don't stop on weekends. Every hour a refinery runs matters, because every hour of lost production ripples outward into the economy. From the refinery, fuel fans out in every direction like veins from a heart. Diesel fuels the trucks that move food from farms to warehouses to grocery stores. It powers the locomotives pulling freight across continents. It runs the heavy equipment that builds roads, bridges, homes, and factories. Jet fuel lifts cargo planes into the sky, shrinking oceans into overnight delivery windows. Marine fuel pushes container ships across trade routes that bind countries together. Even industries that appear clean or digital rely on fuel at their foundation. Data centers depend on diesel backup generators. Hospitals rely on fuel to keep life-saving equipment running during outages. Renewable energy projects depend on diesel-powered machinery to mine materials, manufacture components, transport them, and install them in the field. Farming, perhaps more than any other sector, is inseparable from fuel. Tractors combines irrigation pumps, grain dryers, fertilizer production. All of it runs on refined energy. Every one of these steps creates jobs, not just in extraction and refining, but across the entire economy. Fuel enables specialization. It allows one region to grow food, another to manufacture goods, another to design technology, and another to transport it all efficiently. Cheap, reliable fuel collapses distance. It turns weeks into days and days into hours. That is why modern economies grew so quickly once fuel became abundant and affordable. Energy didn't just power machines, it multiplied human productivity. But this efficiency comes with a trade-off, one most people never see until something goes wrong. The modern economy is built on the assumption that fuel will always be available, always affordable, and always invisible. The system feels effortless. Shelves stay full effortless. Shelves stay full. Prices remain stable. Deliveries arrive on time. When it breaks, everything starts to strain at once. History has shown this repeatedly. In the 1970s, when oil supplies were disrupted and prices spiked, it wasn't just drivers who felt the pain. Shipping slowed, manufacturing costs surged, food prices rose, inflation took hold, entire industries were forced to adapt or collapse. That era reshaped global trade and taught governments and corporations that energy was not just another commodity, it was a strategic foundation. Decades later, the lesson repeated itself in quieter ways. When fuel prices rise, trucking margins disappear. Small carriers shut down first, then routes get consolidated, then delivery times stretch. When refineries close or reduce capacity, fuel shortages don't announce themselves with sirens. They show up as higher prices, delayed construction projects, postponed harvests, and factories quietly running fewer shifts. The economy doesn't collapse dramatically. It slows, it tightens, it becomes more expensive to live in. Fuel is also deeply tied to stability, because so many systems depend on it simultaneously. Disruptions compound. A refinery outage doesn't just affect drivers, it affects airlines, farmers, emergency services, shipping companies, manufacturers, and utilities at the same time. Each sector absorbs part of the shock, and by the time it reaches consumers, it looks like inflation without a clear cause. Prices rise, but the reason feels distant and abstract. What's often missed is how many livelihoods depend on this flow remaining steady. Energy workers themselves form only the visible layer. Beneath them are the secondary and tertiary jobs: suppliers, contractors, equipment manufacturers, transportation companies, engineering firms, safety services, and local businesses that exist because energy infrastructure exists. Entire regions are economically shaped by fuel production and refining, even if residents never set foot on a rig or refinery. This is why changes in fuel availability ripple so far. When energy is abundant, economies expand outward. When it tightens, they pull inward. Globalization slows, local costs rise. Trade becomes more selective. None of this requires political decisions or financial panic. It's mechanical. Energy is the input that everything else depends on. And yet, fuel remains largely invisible in everyday life. People see prices at the pump, but they rarely see the refinery. They hear about inflation, but not about refinery maintenance cycles or diesel inventories. They talk about shipping delays without realizing that every mile traveled depends on energy burned somewhere along the line. The irony is that modern economies have become incredibly good at hiding their foundations. Fuel is so embedded, so normalized, that it only becomes visible when it's disrupted. By then, the effects feel sudden and confusing, even though the cause is simple. The economy runs on fuel because fuel runs on time. It determines how fast goods move, how far supply chains stretch, and how efficiently labor can be used. When fuel is cheap and stable, complexity flourishes. When it becomes expensive or scarce, complexity collapses back into simplicity. Production localizes, consumption slows, margins disappear. None of this means fuel is good or bad. It means fuel is fundamental, until a true large-scale substitute exists for heavy transport, agriculture, and industry. Refined energy remains the backbone of modern life. The debates may change. The technologies may evolve. But the structure remains the same. Energy first, everything else second. That's why understanding fuel changes how you see the economy. Inflation stops being mysterious. Shipping delays stop feeling random. Food prices stop looking disconnected from global events. They are all downstream effects of the same system, moving at the speed energy allows. So the next time you see a truck roll past, a plane cross the sky, or a grocery store restock overnight, remember where that motion begins. Not at the warehouse, not at the port, but deep underground, in refineries that never sleep, and in fuel systems quietly powering the modern world forward. The economy doesn't start with money, it starts with energy. And as long as fuel flows, the world keeps moving. If this story helped you understand how the economy really works, take a moment to hit the like button. It helps this channel reach more people who want to understand the world beneath the headlines. Subscribe if you want more stories like this.com, honest explanations of the systems that quietly shape our lives. And if there's a part of the economy you've always wondered about, leave it in the comments. There's always another story waiting to be told.